digital dollars in 2020. I'm tired of hearing about it and I'm not really seeing much, right? A lot of people are kind of saying, oh my God, if we have digital currency, it will be the end of the world. Like, we can't have this happen. But it's not that deep. Or is it? In this video, we are going to talk about the central banks and digital currency, also known as CBDC, central bank digital currency. Are they trying to take over our world? All right, what's next? And is it really a big deal? Because technically, we already have digital currency. I don't know. Keep up to all that and more. It's Crystal with the Cash Compass. All right, welcome back. I am here to teach you all the things that you should have learned in school about money, but for whatever reason, they forgot to mention it. Please be sure to subscribe because we talk about everything from personal finance to investing into the economy. Let's get into it. All right, so what is a digital dollar, right? Because I don't know about you, but I like to watch a lot of, alternative media. Alternate? I like to watch other channels outside of like CNN and MSNBC and things like that. I like to use the internet, and a lot of buzz is going around with this whole central bank digital currency. So I want to talk about what a digital currency is to begin with. And basically, if we have a digital currency, we will be kissing these actual physical dollars goodbye. So my street pharmacists, y'all gonna have to figure out another way to get your money. Maybe you could just start using Zelle. My people who have ATM businesses, you will have to figure out something else to do. Maybe sell vending machines with food in it instead. For the naked hustle, they can't throw ones anymore. Actual physical dollars will be gone. So that basically means that every transaction that you do will be traceable, right? If they have a global digital currency, if you have money in Chase or whatever, when you spend your money, they're going to be able to see every single transaction. So there's not really any privacy with your financial life. Now, what they try to float around as a benefit of this is a couple of things, but one being that this will allow countries to transact much, much faster, right? So they'll have like a database, and I'm obviously overly generalizing this, but it'll be a database and things can happen instantly, which I appreciate, right? Because if it's my money, I need it now. Another thing that they also kind of float around as a benefit is that if we have a digital currency, the Federal Reserve, which is our central bank, we could have accounts with them. Now, this was kind of like introduced a little bit with the CARES Act, where they kind of said we'll have a digital wallet, but they subsequently pulled that out. But you can see it's in the works, right? So what would happen there? If you have an account at the Federal Reserve, they would be the ones giving you this stimulus check on this card, and then you'd be able to take that money and use it, just like how to use your stimulus check money. This would also be helpful if we ever have UBI, which is Universal Basic Income, right? Where the government will probably deposit $2,000 in your account every single month through this digital wallet with the Federal Reserve. Something like that. Of course, all of these things are speculative. Nothing has been set in stone. There have been discussions, but the Federal Reserve themselves said, we're not sure if we're going to do that right now. And I'm going to get into timelines in a little bit. Now, people have been freaking out about this digital currency, but honestly, we really have a mostly digital currency anyway. And I think it's designed that way. I mean, for example, before 1971, all of our money was backed by gold, okay? Then Nixon said, we're going to temporarily just take it off the gold standard. So you went from using gold to using paper that resembled, or you could exchange for gold, and then they just kind of just sneaked out the gold piece. But, the concept is still there. We already were used to using these paper dollars, so it didn't really feel any different, right? Because I'm still paying you with the same dollar. The only thing different is it doesn't say this can be exchanged for gold. Now it says this is debt, right? So it'll be something similar with the digital currency. Now we pretty much use our cards and our credit cards for everything. So eventually it'll be just like, okay, let's just sneak the dollar out of there, right? They're going to get you kind of warm to it. And that is the way to really get what you want out of people without having to be overt, right? It's kind of like your girlfriend of 5 years who just casually mentions marriage. They won't do these things overtly. It will be much more of a willingly kind of acquiescing into this, right? So at first we probably will have digital currency and still have our paper dollars, right? But then eventually it might get difficult to use your cash, right? They might say if you use cash, it's going to be an extra $1 or $2 for every transaction you do. But if you use your digital currency, it's the same price. That's how they'll get you, because they won't make it feel like they're forcing you. They'll make it feel like you're making the decision to do what's best in your opinion. So honestly, the actual currency being digital is not really a big deal, right? Like, let's say we just were ended up being born in year 3000 and everything was digital to begin with. That's not the problem. The problem is that the money isn't backed by anything. So anything that they would try to do under digital currency, yes, it would happen faster. Like if they're trying to get rid of this debt or they're trying to like expand our money supply, they could still do that under this system, but it wouldn't happen as fast, which is why I don't think it's a big deal. A lot of people are freaking out saying, oh my God, it's the end of the world. It might accelerate the end of the world, but this is going to be inevitable no matter what you use, because our money isn't backed by anything, so there's nothing holding us back. Very similar, and I feel like I use this all the time, but it's true. Very similar to like if your mother is always giving you money and you have a checkbook and it doesn't ever run out of money. You have a black card, right? No matter what you do, you can swipe, and you're going to still have money. Why not buy a jet today? Why not buy a plane tomorrow? Like, you can do whatever you want because there's no limit, baby. And that's the real problem. And that's happening right now, honestly. So it's not much to be afraid of. What we should be concerned about is not having our money backed by something. Nothing restricts them from just kind of printing money out of control. Eventually, that should end very badly. We just don't know when. And honestly, as the world stands right now, we still have other options. I think a lot of people are very warm to the idea of having cash and saving cash. So if we had a situation where they wanted to have our interest rates go negative, where you're putting money in the bank and they're just charging you to hold it for you, right now we have the option to pull it out and hold it in cash, right? A lot of people are arguing, oh, if we have digital currency, like, you won't be able to do that, and they can go deeply negative. If you've been watching my channel, though, you know that that's not the option either. This is why we like tangible assets. Intangible assets are not good because there's a lot of counterparty risk, i.e. having digital dollars, that's in somebody else's hands, right? If they want to go negative, they can. If we can't pull out of the system, we're screwed. But it's still legal to hold gold and silver. It's still legal to have a business, and it's still legal to have real estate. Those are physical things that are in your control. So even if we do go fully digital, we can still have our savings and preserve our wealth in precious metals like gold and silver. We can still preserve our wealth in real estate because you can always take that, at least for now. You can always take your real estate, rent it out, have an Airbnb or some sort of short-term rental. Like, there's things you can do with a property that will help keep your wealth, right? And keep some cash flow going. So you and I, we're not only dependent on these digital dollars, right? We know that tangible assets are very, very important. And if you have something that's in your possession, it's hard for them to take it from you. Now, of course, I am not comfortable with the fact that if we did have digital dollars, you cannot do anything in private. Not that we're doing anything illegal, right? But it's just like, maybe you don't want everybody knowing your business or being able to track every single dollar down. That would also be bad for tax purposes, right? People who are trying to like get around the system is like, no. We see exactly how much money came up in your account, right? And we're gonna need our taxes on that. So it does absolutely have a little bit more control over what we do with our money and our taxes. I definitely don't doubt that and don't deny that. But like I said, we still have different outlets. So I wouldn't be so super afraid of it yet. Also, I don't think it's something that America would do right now. As most of you know, our dollar is the reserve currency. So I could see maybe other countries kind of doing it first. They like to use other countries as like testers, right? So they'll do it in another country first, where they'll have negative interest rates, or they'll have something that they test over there, right? And then if it looks like it went good, then maybe some other countries will adopt it. And then eventually, I think America would adopt it. If we were to do it first, I think it would cause a lot of chaos because these countries would be kind of scrambling to get their own digital reserve currency as well. So I do think it's something that's going to happen in the future. I wouldn't say I'm 100% positive, but we are already moving into that. The majority of our money is digital. Only a fraction of the money is actual physical cash. So when you hear them saying, oh, they're printing up money, and I'm guilty of saying this all the time too, it's hardly ever being printed. I think they would probably try to entice us by doing some sort of stimulus or UBI on there. And that would get everybody like, oh, okay, let me open up my account at the Federal Reserve. And that, honestly, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it would at least be stimulus going directly to the people from the Federal Reserve, right? Because right now what we have to do is Congress has to argue back and forth for a million months, and then eventually they approve it, and then eventually it gets, put into your bank account, or they mail you a check. If it's the Federal Reserve, if they want to give out aid, they can do that immediately. It'll go into your little Federal Reserve wallet, and that's direct aid to the people. So if we're gonna, blow up our money and ruin our currency, at least it can go straight to the people first, but I do think that would cause much more inflation, much quicker than top down, right? Because most people who are at the top, who have a whole bunch of money, they want to preserve that money and keep that money. So they're buying assets up. People from the bottom up are more like, okay, I need to get food, I need to eat my essentials. Or there's a new Louis bag, let's go to Tulum, because everybody's going to Tulum for some reason, right? Like, that would cause more inflation, in my opinion. At the end of the day, though, it does not matter whether you think digital currency is a thing or not, and you're concerned about your savings going to zero, you're concerned about negative interest rates, you're concerned about not being able to have anything that's in your control, you can take action, right? And my favorite thing to do is whenever I have a position, whether I believe something's going to happen or not, I like to ask, what if I'm wrong, right? I preach on this channel. I preach on this channel, and I tell you guys all the time what's going on with the government, what can happen in the future if they don't check this debt issue. Some people might say, oh, you're just scaring people. This is not going to happen. America is so great. That's fine. Listen, I would hope it doesn't happen, right? I would hope things don't crash. I would hope we don't experience hyperinflation. But I can afford to be wrong. Can you afford to be wrong? That's the question you should ask, right? Because let's say worst case, I'm preparing, I'm buying precious metals, I'm buying land, I'm trying to put my money into physical assets, and nothing happens. Well, I just have valuable gold, valuable silver, and valuable real estate, and a viable business. Nothing's wrong with that. If you're wrong, though, right? If you're wrong and, SHIT does hit the fan, you're going to be really screwed. So you want as little downside as possible to your position. If you think digital currency is going to happen, then you prepare. If you're wrong, best case, you have assets. If you're right, you're going to be way ahead. Period. My most concerning thing about this is our purchasing power evaporating, which is why I am a huge proponent of saving in physical assets. I preach that enough times. If you guys do have any questions or want any information on physical assets, just go to any one of my videos. I feel like I'm always talking about this because I really want to get this in people's heads. You want as little downside as possible, as I just said. You want to make sure that you have opportunity to really take advantage if something does happen. Or just keep your family nice and safe and protected through physical things that you can actually pass down to them. So think about what I'm saying. Let me know what you think. Do you guys think digital currency is going to be the end of the world? Everybody's going to be under this, New World Order, one currency? Let me know your thoughts. I want to hear from you. But that will do it. If you like this video, then please like this video and share with your friends. And if you made it this far and you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? It's right down there. Just do it. If you know what's going on, you know what to do. Go ahead and binge watch me. And until next time, keep your money up.